Okay, good morning, class. So today we have our class presentations on our reading projects. Who would like to go first?
Hey,
Me.
teacher, can I go?
I want to go.
I have a book project. I just read 600 pages of the Bourne Identity, and I can't wait to tell you about it.
Okay, let's go ahead and hear it.
Hey guys, so this is my book project. This is the book, the Bourne Identity.
Yeah, more like the boring identity.
Never mind. Hey guys, as I said in the intro, this is my book review of the Bourne Identity. Now, I've just spent the past probably week and a half reading this book, and I have a lot of things to say about the book. Now, quick disclaimer, I will be talking about the plot and major spoilers of the book, so if you have not read it, maybe click off the video. But if you have not read it and you're thinking about reading it, it was not enjoyable. Thank you. Now, the first thing about the book is it's 600 pages long. And normally that's not like a problem. I'm okay with reading longer books. But when the book loses you very quickly, it becomes quite a drudge fest. So the author is Robert Ludlum. He does a great job of telling us everything that's going on, which makes the writing or the diction very clunky. Sometimes when you're describing a building, you're really not getting a lot of visual. All that you're getting is just input about the doorknob being bronze or how the top of the building had 3 spires. But other than that, it's just a church, which is good to let you kind of like see it in your head. But the way he just describes things, it's very hard for me to get an image, almost to the point where I just disregard what he said and just make my own thing. For example, when he's talking about a fashion house, it's called Les Classiques or something like that. He describes all of the stage and the lights that come down and the rafters, and it's just never mentioned again, no needed for the story. And that's a whole minute of me just reading detail and going, what did I just gain out of that? Going through the book chronologically, the first 2/5 of the book were very enjoyable. I really liked the part where it's him getting off Marseille and he gets saved by the doctor, right, which is very different from the movie.
Editor's note, different in that there's like a long time of Bourne being at the doctor, a real doctor, not being saved by the ship and then just going in.
And the whole time he does a great job of showing. He has the bank number in his hip. He goes around the city finding money and getting to this place to meet the doctor again. And it does a great job of showing us his skills that they seem to come naturally to him, but he doesn't know why. The first book or part is really good, and that was quite enjoyable because he hadn't got into the large historical world of Bourne's life. As soon as Ludlum tries to do a little too much, he digs himself into a hole when it comes to the history of Bourne. There's all sorts of things that are just he tries to tie in, like Medusa and Vietnam, and then the Carlos thing, and then all these flashbacks that are going on, how he has a wife and kids that died, and then we don't really hear about a lot about that. We don't really hear actually what happens as he is Kane. He just kind of is, and we don't know, was he actually hugging people, or how did everything work? So that was very confusing. There's so many characters that are introduced that you have to keep track of, which is easy, but not when it comes to their character. Midway through the book, you will get thrown into a scene from the Pentagon or something. I think it was the Pentagon. He does a long time explaining the character of each person, but I instantly forget the person's name. So I don't know. I've read 5 character descriptions in a row, and then it's just, okay, now you know what the character is, here's their name, and here's what they're saying. I have no clue how the 5 minutes that I just spent reading about their character actually applies to that person, because I don't know who is who. Bourne and Marie's romance, forced, if I can say the word. The way that she falls in love with Bourne is that he basically uses her as a body that can get him out of the hotel, because when he walks out,
The spies.
he's looking for a man, not a couple. So he violently, and almost to the point where you're like, what the heck is he even doing, threatens her with his gun and is like pushing his gun in her face, like slapping her and yelling at her for a long time, and while he's escaping this hotel. And then he gets caught. She goes to the other people and she gets kidnapped and is
Disrespected.
about to die, and he comes back and saves her. And that's the way that she falls in love with him. Okay. The problem I have with that is not realistic. She was like freaking out the whole time. He was like being the worst dude, and then at the end she goes, well, no, I saw in your eyes that you didn't want to do it. So these kind of traumatic events, just like, it must be Stockholm syndrome, but at that point that's not romantic.
Stockholm Syndrome is when the hostages or abuse victims suddenly develop positive feelings towards their captors.
Now, Ludlum tries to tell you that it's very romantic because half the time they use the word darling. Oh my gosh, my darling, Marie, you were right. Darling, Jason, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh my gosh, sometimes I just, oof. You could actually cut out the last 5 words of each sentence that they said to each other that was lovey-dovey, and it all of a sudden became a very clear and adult conversation. Jeez, dude. And through the lovey-doveyness, there's a weird balance of Bourne the softy and Bourne the freaking psycho
Hugger.
which is like real. Like, yes, okay, there's people that can flip that switch, but it's not balanced well, because he switches from I don't know who I am to I know what to do, and I'm
Hug.
freaking everybody, which I'll get into later, doesn't happen often. I think this is my largest gripe: the repetitive setting of hotel, taxi, to an objective, which is a person, in which he will take to a restaurant or something to talk to them, or which he'll threaten that he
Hug
them, and then blah blah blah, they go and talk peacefully, and then he will then take a taxi back to the hotel where Marie is, and they will talk, and then do the same thing again. Every time he gets into a taxi, there's a motif of he pays him a 50 franc note, and it's just like, whoa, he paid him money, and the taxi guy obeys. I think that happened about 5 to 10 times in the book, where Bourne pays a taxi guy money, and it's like, whoa, this guy's a sick spy. Oh my gosh. Anybody can pay a taxi guy $200 and be like, drive up next to that armored car. Please, just give him a freaking car. Anyways, they switch hotels so often that in my head, I just have one hotel. I don't even bother, like maybe a different location, but I don't even bother trying to visualize the hotel that he's describing, because at this point, I'm just toast. I don't want to visualize the 8th hotel that they've stayed in, which they will go in and hug each other, call each other darling, go to bed, and then get attacked or something. Now, for an action book, and after watching the movie, you would expect quite a lot of action and a lot of people getting eliminated by Jason freaking Bourne, because Jason Bourne is sick. I love the movies. That's why I read the book. But based off of the cover, too, look at him. That guy's literally getting shot and shooting at people. I swear there was 200 to 300 pages in the middle of the book where it was just straight yap. He does so much telling that it almost drives me insane, because you will have a plot point expand at a scene, right? He will then go to another person and explain what just happened. And I have to spend more time reading about what I just saw. And it's just like, oh my gosh, that chapter could have been eliminated. I could have just skipped that chapter. The action is not as action as I would like it to be. The first book, the action was great, and you felt a sense of suspense. The rest of it, the parts, is really not good. And then when you get to the end, it is just such a wet freaking blanket, dude. The final battle is about a good 3-minute duel between him and Carlos, who just happens to show up, of course, at the Treadstone house. It was very disappointing when it came to Bourne being a spy and like doing cool things and eliminating people and like being cutthroat. And I'm not really sure why that was. I think it was just he wanted to make it more intellectual, which he definitely did, because I sat there thinking and having to go back on the story plenty of times about, okay, what is going on? I can pick things up pretty easily, and this was a difficult, not to track, but just so many things going on to where it's like, why does this matter? Because you think you can cross things off, and then he goes right back to them, and it's like, ugh, hug me. I talked about this in the first part, but the first part of the book is, for me, my favorite, and I could probably have just ended it there after page 200. Just great pacing. He explains his character well. You know, he meets Marie, and it's whatever. Like, you can get over the whole Marie being kidnapped thing. Not a huge deal. It's a great concept. The idea of the Americans coming in and interfering with the Carlos situation was good. Not expanded on enough. Should have been implemented earlier in the story. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. Overall, the story just got very large, very fast, without a lot of visualizing to do, to where it's just a clear line of thought that we're going with this guy Bourne, and he's going and doing all these missions. Characters were too displaced, and then they were all brought together in the end to where you didn't know what was going on, and locations were getting mixed up because people would just teleport, and you'd be like, wait, I thought they were miles away. Maybe I'm just stupid, but those are my thoughts. And to me, this book is for people who didn't like the movie, sort of liked the movie, and wish that Bourne did more thinking and hugging and talking than shooting. Thank you. Hey guys, thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and I will see you later.